Hello, pre-calculus kids. This is the video to give you some guidance about how to do the math in the quiz. The quiz is 10 questions. You have 3 attempts. Highest attempt is what will count. And the access code for the quiz is given in this video. I'm going to go over the question types and do examples of the question types, and then that should be helpful enough. Okay. So the first type of question has to do with the reciprocal identities. And so here they are. Cosecant is the reciprocal of sine, secant is the reciprocal of cosine, and cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. So examples of questions like that is like, all right, let's say it says if cotangent x is 4/5, what is tan x? Well, cotangent and tangent are reciprocals, so that means the answer to tan, it would be the reciprocal of 4/5, and that's 5/4. 5/4 would be the answer for this. So how about this? If secant x is -3/2, what is cosine x? Well, secant and cosine are reciprocals, therefore the answer to this would be -2/3, okay? So that's the reciprocal of -3/2. Positive and negative values don't really change, really. And all right, if sine x is 6/5, what is cosecant x? Well, cosecant and sine are reciprocals. Therefore, if sine is 6/5, that means cosecant is 5/6. And that's, I think, 3 or 4 questions on the of 10 questions is like that. Okay, that's not bad, right? Okay, so the next type of question is about trig identities. And this really has to do with your understanding of sine, cosine, and tangent. And so here's examples of what the questions look like. If tan x is 3/2 and cosine x is 2/15, what is sine x? All right. There's a way to do it involving decimals and a calculator and everything, but you'll notice this is multiple choice, and so this is there's a different way to do this. All right, so tangent is opposite over adjacent, right? And that means that the 3 is the opposite and the 2 is the adjacent. And notice here cosine is 2/15. Well, yes, the adjacent is still 2, but now I know the hypotenuse is 15. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. I know the opposite is 3 because that was the O in tangent, and I know the hypotenuse is 15 because that's what was used, the hypotenuse in cosine, and that brings me to the answer of 3/15. That is sine x. Now, if the next question is a good one. So let's say I know that cotangent x is 4/3 and secant x is 5/4. What is cosine x? Well, all right. So this means that so writing this down, all right, so cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent, so that would be adjacent over opposite. That means the adjacent is 4, the opposite is 3, okay? Over here, cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. That means that this 5 would be the hypotenuse, because cosecant is hypotenuse over opposite. That means hypotenuse is 5. And opposite should be 3. Well, that should be a 3. Yeah. That should be a 3. That was the question's messed up. My bad. I made these up. All right, so what does that mean cosine would be? That means cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. My adjacent is 4. My hypotenuse is 5. The answer would be 4/5. Okay, that's how you do that. No desmos necessary. It's all about, do you understand the relationship between sine, cosine, and tangent, and opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse? Not bad. That is about 3 questions are like that. All right, now the final type of question is about simplifying trig identities. We did that either Wednesday or Thursday of this week. I showed how to do really hard, complicated ones. I asked you to do one easy one. There is no no IXL about this because I don't think IXL could make something about this. But this is mostly about either the tan x one or the cotangent x one. I deleted out really all the harder questions that involve Pythagorean theorem and anything that's, let's see, plus signs. You're not going to see any plus signs or minus signs at all in the questions. You might see squares, but that doesn't really make much of a difference. So here are two examples of these types of questions. I got negative tan x cosine x, and I got cotangent squared x times sine squared x. So both questions, they're simplified. You can simplify them down to one trig function, right? This is two things, this is two things. So how do you do that? Well, before we get to that, the access code for the quiz is president 4. So president, capital P 4. All right, so this is how you solve those two problems. It is so this should actually be negative. That should be negative. So tan x is the same thing as sine x over cosine x, right? And there should be a negative symbol here. And since we're multiplying times cosine and cosine's in the denominator, the cosines cancel out, and we're left with negative sine x. So it should be negative sine x. Okay, that'd be the answer for number 1. For number 2, the squares don't really change anything. The same rules apply. So cotangent of x is cosine x over sine x, and that makes cotangent squared x cosine squared x over sine squared x. And notice that we're multiplying times sine squared x, and sine squared x is in the denominator, so they cancel out, and we're left with cosine squared x. Okay, so that's how you do all the questions you're about to see on the quiz. 3 attempts. Please try doing it today. And that's it. I hope this was helpful. Have a good day.